Diana Zinatsa and her family are stranded in the middle of their journey. They've been stuck for more than 10 hours at the airport. Their flight has been delayed numerous times by South African Airways.
You can imagine the anxiety we had waiting the second time and getting cancelled the second time and no one talking to us. Given my experiences, I'm quite disappointed, and I have traveled, I would say, more than 5 times with South African Airlines, and on most occasions I've been disappointed, so I wouldn't travel with South African Airways.
South Africa's national airline cancelled 38 domestic and international flights 2 weeks ago to save money. SAA has not made a profit since 2011. The reasons include mismanagement and high operating costs. It's relied on government bailouts to keep flying and is now near total collapse. If it goes under, passengers won't be the only people affected. Zazi Ntshepeng Motema-Alexandra is the president of the South African Cabin Crew Association, which represents thousands of workers. The union is pushing for South African Airways to be saved.
SA needs to survive. It needs to survive in order to keep all these 11,000 people employed. It needs to be saved and the right people put into managerial positions. It needs to be run right. It needs the right boards. It needs the right people to take it forward.
In January, SAA announced that it's selling 9 of its aircraft, or nearly a fifth of its fleet. A month before that, the state-owned airline was placed under business rescue to avoid liquidation. Then the government promised the airline a cash injection of $140 million, but SAA still hasn't received the money. In the past decade, the airline has reported more than $1.9 billion in losses, but it's often described as too big to fail. The ruling party wants it to be restructured and kept in business. Unions have proposed a partnership with other African airlines, but some in the opposition argue it should be privatized. Ntokozo Buthelezi is an economist and says SAA has not only been a burden on taxpayers, but it's also affecting investor confidence.
Continued bailouts towards SAA and other state-owned enterprises increases our public debt to GDP ratio. And what that basically means is it's a measure of a country's ability to pay back its debts. So if our public debt to GDP ratio is rising, we're likely to get further downgrades, credit downgrades by credit ratings agencies.
Despite SAA's problems, its 11,000 employees are hoping something can be done to turn the company around and keep it in the skies for years to come. Ntshepeng Motema-Alexandra, TRT World, Johannesburg.